The realization, acceptance that AI is not here to replace anybody's job. AI, in fact, is here to make you more intelligent, to help you focus on tasks that actually matter, like a next Flint, Michigan crisis should not happen, or a bridge collapse in Florida that happened should never happen, right? That's where we want to spend our time. And I believe that AI is right for government agencies to take advantage of and focus on the bigger, broader issues.
From Tyler Technologies, it's the Tyler Tech Podcast, your source for insightful conversations with thought leaders addressing the pressing issues in our communities. I'm Josh Henderson, and I'm on the corporate marketing team here at Tyler. Thanks for joining us. In each episode, we dive into the essential topics shaping our society and shed light on the individuals, places, and technologies empowering the public sector. If you like what you hear, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review, subscribing on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and recommending the show to others. On today's episode, we're joined by Tyler's Vice President and General Manager of the Platform Solutions Division, Vivek Mehta. Vivek offers his insights on the pressing issues facing modern organizations and governments as they navigate the ever-evolving landscape of technology and workforce dynamics. He also explores artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies and the ways in which they're shaping the future of government operations. Vivek helps demystify AI while showcasing its potential to streamline processes, boost productivity, enhance fraud detection, and improve resident engagement in the public sector. He is a wealth of knowledge with a remarkable career story, so without further ado, let's get into my conversation with Vivek Mehta. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, Vivek, thank you so much for joining me today on the Tyler Tech Podcast.
Super excited to be here. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're excited to get this conversation started. So I wanted to start off by sort of diving into your professional background a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your career journey. What are some of the things you've done along the way that led you to your current role here at Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. I think since graduating from Virginia Tech with computer engineering degree, which seems forever ago, I've spent the last 2 decades working with various federal, state, and local agencies, help them implement systems spanning from case management to help with their back offices stuff, building online portals to serve their constituents, as well as building large data warehouses to help them with their business intelligence needs. And as I was climbing the corporate ladder, a catalyst event occurred that I think still remains near and dear to my heart. It was the Flint, Michigan water crisis. I don't know if you recall, but what really got to me was the 8,000 kids who had lead poisoning that eventually led to impact on their brains. And as I digested that, I had my own Jerry Maguire moment. Not as intense as sweating in a hotel room somewhere, but definitely got me thinking. And as I looked more and more into some of the problems that our communities faced, the conclusion overall was if you take our country's aging infrastructure, add to it the man-made and natural disaster that we have been experiencing more and more of over the last decade, it poses great risk to our communities and our environment overall. At the same time, what I realize is the people in charge of protecting those communities and our environment at best are out there with digital forms that they're filling out, or at worst, they're out there with pen and paper with not any intelligence at all. So decided to do something about that. I founded my own firm called AR Inspect. And at the core of it was an AI and machine learning algorithm that not only allowed them to be more productive out in the field using things like route optimizations, chat GPT based technology, things like that, but it also provided them intelligence to be proactive rather than reactive in preventing these kind of issues. And when we started talking to Tyler, they sort of had me at their connected communities vision about building prosperous communities and making sure that we are serving the constituents in the right way. Honestly, that's where the mission aligned. And we quickly realized that with Tyler's reach and their impact to an already existing large government ecosystem, our technology can team up with that large base and provide even a bigger impact. So that's how I ended up here.
It's so interesting. It's it's a such a wide ranging career path, and I think it's important to emphasize the experience you have both in creating solutions and on the business side as well. You've obviously seen a lot, but I'm curious, from a current day perspective, what are the biggest challenges organizations face in terms of workforce dynamics and meeting public expectations for digital services?
Yeah, I think this has been a sort of a long standing conversation, especially in the public sector world. If you look at the landscape, majority of the government workforce is have either retired or are on their way to retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and that poses two big problems for agencies nowadays. First and foremost, loss of that institutional knowledge. To give you an example, right? I'm Bob. I've been an inspector for 20 years, and I go inspect Rob's spicy chicken every year, right? And I know where Rob hides all the skeleton. So when me as Bob is going out there, I already know what to look for because I have that institutional knowledge. But now, as Bob, if I'm retiring, the next person up may or may not have that knowledge depending on the systems in place. So that's what I mean when I talk about institutional knowledge. Another big impact to that is just do more with less, because as the workforce is retiring, they're having trouble finding one-to-one replacement because the younger generation doesn't want to work on pen and paper. They
Mm-hmm.
want latest and greatest technology to be efficient at the work that they are doing. So as the workforce is retiring, as they are having hard time recruiting new talent, and then mix into it the institutional loss of knowledge, it does pose, according to me, as the greatest challenge that the public sector's agencies are facing nowadays.
Now let's dive into the latest and greatest in technology a little bit further. You're obviously well versed in the world of artificial intelligence. How do you personally perceive the role of AI and emerging technologies in addressing these types of challenges and enhancing government operations?
So let's dissect that a little bit, right? The word AI and machine learning gets thrown around a lot nowadays. But if you just look at it as AI is too broad to make any impact, because that's where people get lost. So we at Tyler are looking at AI, how AI can help government in three major focus areas. The first and foremost being productivity. Is it increasing productivity, which in turn addresses the challenge that we spoke about of
Mm-hmm.
doing more with less and less. The second key area we are focusing on is decision making, speaking to my earlier comment about being proactive rather than reactive. Also, that decision making can serve as a replacement of the loss of institutional knowledge that most of the agencies are experiencing. So, how can AI help in automating, giving them insights that they otherwise wouldn't have? And the third one, and quite frankly, the most important one to most of our clients, is the service delivery, right? How do you continue to provide better and better digital services to their constituents? And I believe we'll talk a little bit about the examples and stuff, but those are the three areas we think that the AI technology can help in the public sector.
Yeah, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Those three very specific areas that you're referring to. I'm curious, what specific areas within government agencies do you see as sort of ripe for AI integration and modernization? And furthermore, how do you envision AI assisting government employees in their daily tasks and responsibilities?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, like I said, right, let's take the broad AI definition out of it and talk about what most of our clients do, right? How are most of our clients organized? They have a back office operation, where majority of the applications that they are getting of all different types, they have to process them, they have to review them, and they have to issue some kind of decision on it, right?
Mhm.
So if you just take the back office, a few example could be lots of agencies, even in today's date, get paper applications. Somebody is spending time to input that data into some sort of system. Then the reviewer comes in doing whole bunch of manual review on stuff. With AI solution nowadays, you can actually scan that paper form and automatically digest all of that information into your system. After that, the machine learning models can actually review and automate some of the reviewer tasks. Again, we are not talking about replacing human beings
Mhm.
entirely. Rather, we are talking about augmenting their productivity to increase their productivity and getting them the help they need to perhaps clear the backlog. So, back office is one such big area. The second big area, which what the company I founded did, was help the field workers that are out there, right? Think about, I think one of the cities we were talking to earlier, they had about one inspector per 1,000 restaurants that they needed to inspect. Like, how do you do that in a year? Well, you can't do it.
Mhm.
So, can machine learning models help figure out of the 1,000 restaurants, which ones possess the highest risk? Let's be smart about deploying our limited resources to the right places to provide the biggest impact. So that's sort of the second sort of area where government can use AI. And lastly is the service delivery. Again, right, lots of governments have done a great job building online portals to enable those digital services. Yet, sort of the consensus, if you do a survey of citizens, sometimes it could be clunky, sometimes the regulations are too complicated. So how do we provide them help with use of chatbot, for example, to answer their own questions, to make their experience much better and seamless with the government entities? So those are sort of the three examples, and obviously, we are coming up with new AI use cases at a very, very rapid pace.
Yeah. And I think once government agencies start to see a bigger sample size of the ways in which these efficiencies are happening, I think there will be a lot more buy-in long term. But obviously, there's a considerable amount of hesitation when it comes to AI, implementing solutions that utilize AI. What are the primary concerns or barriers hindering the adoption of AI technologies within government, or how should we be demystifying AI, which is still such a misunderstood but much discussed part of modern tech?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In my opinion, honestly, I think it starts with a simple realization that AI is not there to replace us,
Mhm.
right, in any fashion. Rather, AI needs to be thought of as the enabler to get rid of the monotonous, the tedious, repeatable tasks. How can that AI can take that off our plate so we can focus on more complex and more impactful tasks? And I'll take that even a step further. How can AI provide me the intelligence and insights I need to execute those complex tasks more efficiently? Once the agency has that realization, AI is no longer a black box, right? You're much more open to exploring, how can I help Bob here not retain all that knowledge in his brain, but utilize AI models to augment his intelligence when he is out in the field. So to me, it all comes down to, hey, let's break down this world of AI and first and foremost admit to ourselves that it's not here to replace anybody. It's here to make us more intelligent. It's here to help us focus on tasks that truly matter.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the Tyler Tech Podcast.
I hope you're enjoying listening to this episode of the Tyler Tech Podcast. My name is Jade Champion, and I'm here with Brianna Case to talk all things Tyler Connect 2024 in Indianapolis from May 19th to May 22nd.
That's right, Jade. Our annual user conference is quickly approaching, and there's still time to register if you haven't already.
And we have so much planned from this year, from special events to amazing speakers and plenty of networking opportunities. What are some highlights from 2024?
We are really excited about some of the speakers we have coming to the stage. This year, you'll get to hear from best-selling author and Future Think CEO Lisa Bedell, chef and author Jeff Henderson, as well as Black Ambition CEO Felisa Hatcher.
I also heard comedian Leanne Morgan will be performing at our client appreciation event. We hope you're just as excited as we are to join us in Indy, where we're expecting over 5,000 attendees and more than 800 sessions, including product training and general education classes. If you still need to register, now's the time. Go to tylertech.com/connect. Now let's get back to the Tyler Tech Podcast.
We've talked a lot about how AI will affect the workforce, or how it can affect the workforce in a positive way. But obviously with the public sector, with government agencies, it's outward facing. It's how do we help our residents? What's the resident experience look like? How would you say agencies ensure that the adoption of AI technologies aligns with the goals and the values of local communities and its residents?
So this is where agencies will need to sort of take a step back and figure out where their challenges are. Okay.
Mhm.
AI, as much as is discussed right now, pretty much every offering in the market, you'll hear, oh, we have AI this and we have AI that. Now, what that has done for government agencies is it's become overwhelming, right?
Mhm.
And the response to that overwhelming feeling is either the agency will try to do everything in one shebang, let's go full AI, or the other extreme, we don't understand it, we don't think it will help, let's not do anything with it. To combat that and to get through that, I believe that agencies should identify their challenges first. Do they have a huge backlog in processing the application? Or no, we don't have a backlog in processing the application. We actually have a backlog in reviewing the applications that come in. Maybe the intake and the review is streamlined already. Our problem is in the final decision making. Or no, decision making is fine too, but it's taking forever for our inspectors to go conduct the inspection so we can issue a final license or permit. Once you identify the bottleneck areas, only then the agencies can target, okay, I need AI and ML solution to do this for me,
Mhm.
right? And that sort of does a couple of things, right? It gets rid of the overwhelmingness that I talked about. At the same time, it will help agency prioritize, right? I walked through this simple scenario, but challenges could be in more than one area. So, okay, well, where is the biggest backlog? Where is the biggest bottleneck? Let's prioritize that. And once you start to do that, it sort of starts to bring this vast world of AI into focus use for that agency. And that will enable progress rather than just overwhelming feeling or trying to do everything at once.
That's great. And I think this next question sort of touches a little bit on some of the things we've already discussed, but kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into it. But, what potential risks or ethical considerations do you foresee in the integration of AI particularly into government operations, and how should we be addressing those?
Yeah, so I'm going to dissect the world of AI again, right? There are certain parts of AI, just like simple task automation, where ethics are not involved. I
Mhm.
think you're just simply automating the task and allowing your resources to do better things. But then you look at things like generative AI, and there's absolutely ethical questions that we have to worry about. Now, good news, Josh, is that we were too late in being responsible on the social media side, right? Whether
Mhm.
all these social medias app that the technology people are developing, are we being responsible, or are our kids being addicted to them, and what impact are they having? It came much later.
Mhm.
Good news about AI is companies like Microsoft already have chief AI responsible people assigned to it right now. As they dive into more into research, they are saying we are going to be responsible about doing this. And more as government adapts this, you'll see the same kind of role within the government organizations as well, because there is part of AI that we have to be mindful of, where we are not crossing the boundary, ethical boundaries to be specific.
This has been such a great conversation, Vivek. We really appreciate all the insights. But now as we start to wrap up the conversation and as these technologies, continue to advance at such a rapid pace, I thought it would be important to sort of look ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you envision the future of government operations with AI playing a central role, particularly in terms of workforce sustainability and service delivery?
I think, look, I'll take you back to the challenges that the government agencies are currently facing, right? With the retiring workforce, their sort of limited ability to attract new talents. If you take a look at those challenges, to me, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for government agencies to successfully adopt the latest and greatest technology, I think they do need to take a look at their own challenges first and find targeted solution to get rid of those overwhelming feeling when it comes to this vast world of AI and ML. So that's what I'll say: prioritize, and then look for a solution that helps you fix priority number 1, 2, and so on.
That's great. And now, can you leave us with some final thoughts on what you believe the approach should be for future-proofing local government and leveraging technology for the public good?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all the things we talked about, honestly, on the call, Josh. But most importantly, I will say again that the realization, acceptance that AI is not here to replace anybody's job.
Mm-hmm.
AI, in fact, is here to make you more intelligent, to help you focus on tasks that actually matter, like a next Flint, Michigan crisis should not happen, or a bridge collapse in Florida that happened should never happen, right? That's where we want to spend our time. And I believe that AI is ripe for government agencies to take advantage of and focus on the bigger, broader issues.
I think that's the perfect place to end it, Vivek. Thank you again so much for joining us today, and hope to have you back on the show again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. It was a great conversation. Thanks.
Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Vivek Mehta. If you'd like to learn more about the benefits of digital solutions and other topics discussed throughout the episode, check out our show notes for more resources. A modern digital infrastructure allows the public sector to adapt in the digital age. From operational agility to data management and analytics, as well as cost savings, security, compliance, and scalability, governments are poised to take advantage of innovative technology to create more efficiencies in their systems and better support and connect their communities. Tyler creates solutions made exclusively for the public sector and has experts with government experience ready to support you on this journey. I hope you're excited about what the future holds and will reach out to us at podcast@tylertech.com to connect with a subject matter expert if you'd like to learn more. And whether it's embracing artificial intelligence and modernizing your digital infrastructure or something else entirely, we want to hear from you about what you'd enjoy hearing more of and how we can make the Tyler Tech podcast even better. Fill out our audience survey in the show notes today to let us know how you heard about the show and your ideas for future episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to the show and rate and review the podcast. For Tyler Technologies, I'm Josh Henderson. Thanks for joining the Tyler Tech Podcast.